Hey, you guys, what's up? Surprise! We are both here with you on a Friday, and we're super pumped because now we're basically taking everything that we've done in the last 4 days, all of the planning that we've put in, and we're going to mash it all together and we're going to make a plan. And that is where you're going to say, okay, I know what my bad habits are. I know how I'm going to um, I know how to identify them. I know how I'm going to switch them. I know how I'm going to stack them. And I know how I'm going to kick that off with a little micro habit. So you have all the framework that you need. We just need to put it together today. So before we do that, a lot of you have been messaging us and you're like, 5 days is not enough. Like, what do we do now? How do we implement this? We know, don't worry, we're not going to just abandon you out in the middle of the habit forming ocean. So, what we have set up for you is the next 4 weeks we have set aside for us to go through each one of these categories one by one. And we're going to take your habit plan that you're going to come up with today and we're going to implement it over the course of a week. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, one of two things: either there's no way I can form a habit in a week, or there's like, how slow are we going to move? Like, why are we only doing one a week? It's a good amount of time. It's going to push you, but at the same time, like, you're going to have time to actually establish enough of it to move on to the next one. It is going to feel like it's moving fast, but we're going to be there with you to hold you accountable, to support you, everything that you need. So basically, the first week we would focus on your mindset habit. The second week we would focus on your nutrition habit. The third week your fitness habit, and then the fourth week your financial habit. So literally everything that we've done here. And then we're also including a bonus week, number 5, where we're going to talk about maintaining the lifestyle. So basically, how to get to the end of this process and go all the way back to day 1 of where we started this week and do it all over again and implement a different habit and a different habit. And you continue to do this. Amy and I continue to do this all the time. Yes, this is something we teach. Yes, it's something that we're super passionate about, but it's because we see how it can work in our lives as well. So, if you want to learn more about how you can be in that challenge, just stay to the end of this video and we will let you know how. But for now, I'm going to kick it over to Amy and she's going to talk to you about forming your plan.
Awesome. Thanks, Jamie. So I promised Jamie that I would be short and sweet and not ramble on, because not the rambling, but the diving further into it is what I need to save for you guys. We are really going to dive into this replacement behaviors. The first thing next week when we start talking about things, but I want to give a little backstory on replacement behaviors. I am a special ed teacher and I spend most of my days analyzing behavior and diving into the whys of behavior, like I've kind of talked about. But I spend most of my days trying to find replacement behaviors and things like that for kiddos at school who need to stop, specific behaviors. And I would never tell them to just quit what you're doing, right? Just stop playing with that. Like that's not a realistic expectation. So I need to give them a behavior to replace that with, right? So that brings me back to like years and years ago as a kid. My dad was a smoker forever. And he constantly went through the spiral of wanting to quit, right? He knew it was bad for him. He identified it obviously as his unhealthy behavior that he wanted to quit. We wanted him to quit so badly. So finally he up and decides, I'm going to quit. He, instead of, when he got the craving for a cigarette, he would replace it with candy. And that was his vice. Like that was his replacement behavior. Not the healthiest replacement behavior, but a replacement behavior nonetheless, right? So he would get that cue, that trigger that says, oh, I need a cigarette, right? So instead of grabbing the cigarette, he would grab Mike and Ike's, or he would grab whatever, and he would snack on those. And that would give him that satisfied feeling that Jamie talked about when she was talking about, creating those habits. That would give him that that reward basically. So obviously this goes on for quite a while, and he's like, yeah, I haven't had a cigarette in 3 days. It's like, but I've dominated like 7 boxes of Mike and Ike's. I mean, obviously that's not, again, not a healthy replacement behavior, but he was kicking the cigarette habit. Well, he started to notice, hi buddy, he started to notice after this amount of time that he's, starting to put on weight. Yes, he's stopped smoking, but he's started to put on weight, which obviously is not the end result that he wanted from quitting smoking, right? He quit smoking, but gained this new habit, which also made him gain pounds. So then he goes back to smoking, and it's this vicious cycle until finally we he was like, I have to stop this cycle. What am I going to do? And we started to suggest like, hey, maybe instead of grabbing the box of Mike and Ike's, you grab a healthy habit instead, right? Like you get that cue to have a cigarette, you go take a walk out into the garage and you play around with your car or whatever that's out there. That gives you that reward back, and you're not putting more food in your mouth. And or next time you get that trigger, you take a walk. So it's every time you're getting that trigger, you're replacing it with something else that is rewarding to you. But the something else needs to be that something else that's healthy, right? So for me, my replacement that I wanted to replace was coffee, right? I love sugary, dairy-filled coffees that probably have hundreds of chemicals in them and just as many grams of sugar, but I love them. They're like my vice. I understand how unhealthy they are. I apologize. Hi, babe. Hi, Dad. So I love those coffees. And so I finally decided like, I have to stop putting so much creamer and sugar and all of those things in my coffees here at home. I'm making them every day. And it's just not super good for me. I wanted to give that up, but I didn't want to give up my caffeine, right? So I decided I'm going to replace this sugar dairy filled coffee with my pre-workout, and it became part of my morning habit stack. I didn't have the sugar crash that I didn't want. I didn't have all of those unwanted chemicals going into my body. I didn't have just all of those harmful things. So I replaced the unhealthy habit, which was me leaning on the sugar filled coffee that eventually led to a sugar crash. And replacing it with a more natural substitute that gave me the caffeine boost that I needed, but it was a much healthier alternative. So that was just one area of my life where I just made that simple swap. I built it into my habit stack, and it's just kind of part of what I do now. So it was just one tiny little tweak, one tiny little change. I didn't quit coffee cold turkey. I mean, we're not asking you to give up your, hi buddy. We're not asking you to give up your habits cold turkey and cut everything out. Do that. That's not sustainable, and it's not realistic. I think Jamie may have mentioned earlier, this is a marathon. Your healthy journey is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So changing everything all at once, it truly only leads you to wanting to quit, right? When you do a total overhaul and it's just all so much at once, it's not sustainable. You have to take the habit, break the habit, replace the habit. And those two things go hand in hand, and they take a lot of time. Jamie is so good at knowing those mindset laws, and there are 4 of them that she will dive into with you guys, but she will talk about the mindset laws with you guys and how it does take time for you to break those habits and rebuild something brand new. But what we want you guys to focus on is those little baby steps, identifying that unhealthy behavior and replacing it with something that is healthier, replacing it with something that's more desirable. So Jamie, if you wouldn't mind just diving a little bit into our mindset laws, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, totally. Before I do that, I just want to say, you guys, we like split up, like, okay, you're going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about this. And we got like a general framework, but I think in every video, one of us has referenced our pre-workout as something that we use to form a habit. I just think it's funny that we're like so addicted to it. We're like, no, this is amazing.
There are worse addictions and obsessions.
Yes.
Like that. process, but
Yeah, absolutely. Like I don't drink those coffees anymore. I maybe have like one a month. And I used to, you know how much I save not going to Starbucks every day?
oh my gosh, yes,
Gosh.
crazy. But
Okay.
yeah, it's more of like a treat now versus like a vice that you need to like hit the drive-through every morning.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so when we're talking about forming behaviors, there's three main laws that you can follow that are going to help you say, okay, I have this habit that I want to put into place, and now this is how I'm going to actually make it so that I will do it. Um, and the first is to make it obvious. So if you want to read more, if you want to read before you go to bed, when you wake up and make your bed, put your book on your pillow so that when you come back to bed, you see that book and you're like, okay, I'm going to read that. Make it attractive, make it something that you enjoy doing. I know that maybe not all of us are like, oh, I got to work out every day. I don't really like working out as much as I work out, but I do it because I know how I feel afterward. So it's like, even if it's something that you're like, oh, not my favorite thing, bask in how you feel afterward, how proud you are of yourself, things like that. Make it easy. We talked about micro habits yesterday. So even if your long-term goal is to run that marathon, your short-term goal has to be so easy. Your micro habit, right? It's putting on your running shoes. So easy. You have to make it so easy. And then the last thing is make it satisfying. People talk about overeating and binge eating and all of this stuff, and it's because it's that immediate satisfaction of, you know, like the salty or the sweet or whatever processed nonsense. My dog's freaking out. Whatever processed nonsense is in that bag of chips or that bag of, you know, candy or whatever it is that you're going to. I was listening to a podcast today and I can't remember the name of it, but I will get it to you guys. But that podcast was talking about, it was talking about habits and habit forming, but it was giving some really good examples. There's this building in maybe New York or something, or a big building, right? Not that big, six flights of stairs. You walk in this building and you see there's this beautiful staircase that like opens up into a courtyard, and then it like has these giant landings on it, and it's like cedar stairs and it's going up, and people walk into this building and they're like, where's the elevator? Like, how do, you know, what if somebody's handicapped? Like, how do they live here? There's no elevator. And it's like, oh no, there is an elevator. If you go down that hall through that door and around the bend, you can get to the elevator, and it's got like a little wheelchair direction pointer that says, hey, if you're handicapped, go this way. And what happened was people started taking the stairs because it was such a pain to get all the way to the elevator. And then once they got up to the floor that they wanted to be on, they had to go all the way back around. And so they made it really inconvenient for people to take this elevator. And what they found was people started congregating on those huge landings. And when they were asking people, wow, you like to take the stairs in this building? And they're like, yes, we run into our neighbors and we get to sit and we have like a little chat or whatever, and, you know, we're like filling our like social cup basically by taking the stairs. And they designed it that way so that people were choosing that habit of learning to take the stairs. The other example that they gave was the like quit smoking campaigns that were run, I don't know what, like mid 90s, that were like the emphysema and the lung cancer and you're gonna die and all of this stuff. And they were running this campaign and cigarette sales stayed exactly the same. They might have even trended up. But after that, so they like analyzed that data and they said to themselves, okay, this isn't working. We have to do something else. And that's when smoking started to become illegal inside. Like people couldn't just like light up in their office anymore or in a restaurant, or gosh, they had to walk like a certain amount of feet away from the door or go to like a designated smoking area or whatever. They made it super inconvenient for people to smoke. And so what they saw was sales of cigarettes like plummeted. They went down so much when they started putting these inconvenient things in place that you had to go through. So when you are thinking about breaking your habit, you need to make it super inconvenient for you. Okay. Even if you don't choose to go on to the next thing with us, we will give you this right here. Your bad habit that you identified, make it hard to do it. If you are a smoker, put your cigarettes in the garage where you would have to, you know, walk and go get them. If you're a binge eater, stash your chips and your cookies upstairs in your linen closet so that you have to walk up the stairs to get them, or don't buy them at all. If they're not there, you can't eat it. I know people say that all the time, but it's so true. If you're trying to replace it with something like eating healthy, make it obvious. Put a fruit bowl out in the middle of your island and put beautiful fruit in it. And you're gonna say, oh, wow, what a beautiful piece of fruit. And it's so easy to pick up an apple and take a bite out of it. No preparation, nothing. You pick it up and you eat it. It's easy. And then you're gonna feel satisfied because you're getting that little bit of sugar that you were actually craving, but you're getting it in a natural form with a ton of fiber. So think through that in everything that you're doing. And like Amy said, make sure that you're focusing on breaking the habit as well, because so many times people will say like, oh yeah, I'm going to replace this with this. But just in the case of Amy's father saying, I'm going to replace this with this, the smoking craving never went away because he didn't actually break that habit. He just replaced it with something else. So be sure that you're focusing on actually breaking that habit as opposed to just putting something else on top of it. So I hope that that all made sense. Hello. I hope that that all made sense. And if you guys have questions about anything, we're going to be putting up a little Q&A post in the group today. And write all of your questions under there. If you have questions about how to join us next week, if you have questions about any of the material we covered, how you can save this material, how you can work with us one-on-one, any of that, just drop the questions in there and we will get back to them. Amy, did you want to talk a little bit about how they can join us next week, or you want me to do that?
Yeah, I feel like we can kind of tag team that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we are super excited. One of the biggest things, you guys, that I get most excited about for this is the accountability piece that is built into all of the things that we're going to offer you. So keep an open mind when we're talking about all of these different ways that you can join us for the next 28 days, which are going to be 28 days of just amazingness of building new habits and just diving into that healthier lifestyle. But this community, it builds with you guys and it builds, you know, with us. And it's just such an important piece of what we have to offer. And that accountability piece really is huge. So
absolutely. We talked to so many of our clients that have had like amazing success in weight loss or whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. And we always we want to know what's the key, like what allowed you to be successful while somebody else wasn't. And they always say that it's the accountability. Like usually they're working on their mindset, but most of all, they have that accountability and that support to keep going.
Yes. So, Jane, if you want to dive in, and I will just kind of.
Yeah, for sure. So basically what we would normally require for someone to come into a challenge like this is we partner with a company that has fitness and nutrition programs, because we're not personal trainers and we're not nutritionists or dietitians. And so we're not going to give you that advice. It's not in our wheelhouse, right? We're going to help you navigate through implementing your habits. So we do partner with a company that has it's basically like a streaming system for workouts. They have a ton of different programs on there, and there's a couple of them that are 21 days long. So those are the ones that we are going to be using in that group. We're going to have, you know, the first 2 weeks, we won't be working out, but then in week 3 and week 4, and then that bonus week 5, we'll have those 21 days to actually start working out and stuff. It also comes with 2 nutrition programs that you can think of that you can choose between. They're both clean eating. It's not like a fad diet or anything, and it's you know, completely safe. And one of them is a little bit more strict. It's more portion control, and the other one is more working on your mindset and your relationship with food. Both of them are incredibly effective. I do one, Amy does the other one, and we both have had like a ton of success. I've lost like 40 pounds using those programs, which is why we endorse them. That's why we use them, is because we've had success with them and our clients have had success with them.
And the fact that the both of these programs that we both use, Jamie said it earlier, they are not fad diets. They're not diets. I don't like to, to even use the term diet because it really is, it's a lifestyle change. It's sustainable. I know we keep saying that, but it's something that you literally can change your lifestyle around. It's, one is a little bit more flexible than the other, like Jamie said, but they're not restrictive. I would say neither of them are restrictive in any way. They don't leave you feeling hungry, leave you feeling like, oh, that doesn't, I hear so many women, especially, well, that doesn't fit in my diet. I'm like,
Mhm.
That's not really how, like, I can't function like that. Like, you tell me I can't have something, I want that, even if I hate it. Like, you tell me I can't have a coconut, and I'm like, ooh, suddenly I love coconuts. I hate coconut. But like, you tell me I can't have it, and I'm like, ooh, I
But
think
what if
I
I
need,
want
I need
it?
a couple, right? But yeah, so this doesn't restrict you. It doesn't leave you, neither of these plans leave you feeling that way. Sorry to cut you off, Jamie,
No,
but
that's fine. Like, I mean, we use it, so I feel like our, testimony of it is going to be important for people to understand what it actually is. And then normally we would require you to try 3 of our products, one of which is like a nutritional shake. It helps curb sweet cravings. I drink mine every day. It's like digestive regulating. And then of course our pre-workout that we can't shut up about. And then the other one I talked about yesterday in my video, it's like a muscle recovery formula, because so many people, when they start working out, the problem is that they go really hard and the next day they're so sore they can't walk, and then they're like, that was terrible, I don't want to do that again. Right? Make it attractive. That's not attractive. It's not easy. It's hard to walk the next day, and that's why we promote that muscle recovery supplement. And then I mean, a blender bottle and things like that to mix up your supplements. What am I forgetting?
um,
Those are like the main components of it. There's like a lot of little things in there. There's the portion
I was gonna
containers
say
and
there's
stuff
portion
like.
control containers in there. There is a really awesome nutrition journal tracker um,
Yeah.
that really does help regardless of what nutrition program you choose. That is also included in there, which is really great because it helps you to, recognize those triggers, those habits that you're doing, keep track of everything, write it down. And then for our limited time offer,
Mhm. So
for,
that one would be like 220 is
sorry.
usually $220 is usually what we would have you pay to get access to that stuff so that you could work with us. And then we would just waive our fee and you would just, buy that pack and you could work with us. But Amy, tell them what we're doing instead.
Sorry. So you get all of that for 220. There's obviously other options. For this group that we're running right now, you can choose between the superfood shake that we talked about or the pre and post workout supplements that we talked about, and those options are 160. So you're still choosing to, take one of those pieces and implement that into your healthy journey, and you've decided on either the pre and post or the superfood, and you're getting all of that stuff that we mentioned before still for 160, which is amazing. Obviously that's still a pretty big investment. We understand that. We want you to think of it as an investment long term. Obviously your health is something that's important to you, and it's something that sticks with you for years and years to come. So we are mindful of that, but we are also mindful of the fact that $160 is a lot, or 220 is a lot. So for this weekend, only through Sunday, right? I believe. So through Sunday, we are also going to throw in a $20 Amazon gift card as a little thank you, a little thank you to us, a little thank you to you, for just making that investment in yourself and giving you a little bit something back to kind of offset that cost a little bit.
Yeah, and what's cool about it is, yes, our group is 28 days, but the fitness programs you have for a year, and the nutrition programs you have for life. I
Mhm.
mean, as long as you continue to have your subscriptions and everything active, like you have those programs. You can keep doing it all the time. Every 5 weeks, we start another one of these challenges over from the beginning. You can do this over and over and over with us and just work on a different habit every single time. And then the only other thing I was going to say is um, the reason that we kind of split it up with the like either the workout supplements or that shake is because we want you to dial into, I really want to focus on my nutrition, or like I really want to focus on establishing a workout routine. And so we split it so that you didn't have too many balls in the air. Yes, we're going to go through both, but we want you to really, really hone in on one. And if you do choose the shake option, we also wanted to throw in we have like a recipe book for all of the different flavors, so many different recipes. Some are, tropical, and some are savory, and some are, there's energy balls you can make, and there's so many things you can do with it that we've put that into a recipe guide for you. Amy, there was one other thing.
We also put together a 22 I keep wanting to say 22 recipes, but that's not it. So we went through our food lists and we created this grocery shopping guide essentially. And we wanted to include that for you guys too. It's a grocery shopping guide with all clean foods in it. And each of those foods that we highlight in there comes with either 1 or 2 recipes for that food. And it kind of gives you the overall benefits of that particular food, which a lot of times you don't know why you're eating those foods. You're like, oh yeah, somebody told me that was healthy, so I'm going to eat it. So we kind of highlighted those things too. So we wanted to throw that in as well as just a thank you for joining us for this group, and for trusting us and continuing on with your healthy journey with us. So.
And then, we can also do the planner and the workbook that we've been giving away. If you sign up, we can throw those in there as well. So you're going to get a ton of resources, but we're going to hold your hand and we're going to walk you through all of it. Most people, when they invest in like either the nutrition or the workout programs or whatever, they get really overwhelmed and they're like, oh no, I haven't even touched the material. I didn't even start. Don't worry, like we're going to step you through it. So I think that it's an amazing opportunity. We hope, like, we're completely waiving our fee. All you have to do is invest in yourself. So I hope that you guys are as excited for it as we are. We can't wait. If you are interested in talking about this, just drop a comment in this video. Drop a comment in the comments of this video. What? Why am I struggling? Just put a comment under here, or you can message us or whatever. Just reach out somehow and we will get you set up. And if you have any concerns, if you're like, I just can't come up with the money right now, it's okay. We do have another option where you can wait 2 weeks. You could join us for free for 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, you would do the 220 option. So whatever, if it's, now's not exactly the right time, but in 2 weeks is, like, we can make that work as well. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm so excited to get started. And I don't know, talking about all of those freebies that we're throwing into this package has me like feeling a little bit like Oprah, like you get a guide and you get a guide. And I'm so excited to send those out to everybody just because it is such a game changer and this community is such a game changer. So I just wanted to thank you guys again for joining us for the last 5 days and, listening to all the things that we want to share with you guys. I hope you guys found it helpful, and I'm so excited for you guys to dive further in the next 4 weeks. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you guys. We will see you next time. See you on Monday.